Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Detroit Pistons Ad Boys podcast. Today is, I believe, October 28th, 2015. And we are here with your host, Mike G, and the lovely Dickie, and my partner in crime, Elda.
Over in the building.
So, we're starting off with a little hot discussion that we've had over the summer, and it's spilling out obviously into the season because he has not been moved, and he is here to stay, it looks like. And that would be our good old buddy, Kentavious Caldwell. I can shoot the basketball Pope.
I can take it off the dribble, Pope. I'm a lockdown defender. Pope.
I'm the greatest basketball player that ever existed on the face of the planet. Pope.
Pope.
Mr.
Every
Pope.
knee shall bow. Pope.
So,
first two games, he's been very good. First two games, he's been very good. I've been very pleased with our production from him.
Let me know, guys. Guys, let me note this. I want to note this. This is on the record. This is Mr. Elda talking about Mr. KCP. This is on the record. Go ahead, sir.
On the record. First two games, this is the KCP that I said we need for us to be successful. When people say no, all he has to do is play defense. No, all he has to do is spot up and make threes. And I said, no, we need a shooting guard that can do multiple things on the court. We need him to get key rebounds. He got a key rebound. We need him to do real defense. He played real defense, and he scored in good clusters of points, and especially last night in the third quarter. That third quarter, I thought that was huge. I think he had like 8 or 9 points in the third quarter. And that's what I said we needed out of whoever plays shooting guard. And I said KGP wins out, he earns it. I said if Bullock wins out, he earns it. I said if Neat wins out, they earned it. So I'm very, so far, in this, and I know we're really deep in the season with 2 full games behind our belt, but I'm very pleased with the production I've seen out of the shooting guard position so far from KCP. It's no denying it. I think his defense is still being a little bit overhyped. I think his defense being a little bit overhyped. You don't really, and I'll say this, you let me know if I run on my time, right? You don't shut down Kyle Korver. Kyle Korver is not a player that you shut down. That's number one. You don't shut down Kyle Korver. He's not going to light you up for 25, 30 points. He averages 12, so you don't shut down Kyle Korver. And then he came the next day.
With the Kyle Korver, I'll let you finish. I just want to note this out. You're right. You don't shut down a shooter. You just can't.
Right.
What Kyle Korver does is he's one of those guys that puts the nail in the coffin. Everybody else does the dirty work, and he's the guy that kind of puts the final nail into it. That's his thing. You don't shut that down. He's like the Robert Horry. You don't shut Robert Horry down. He's just one of those guys that comes in and he kind of puts the cherry on the cake. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So like
he'll either keep the distance, like when you start to creep back in the game, you get down. You get back when you're down like 12, and get down to 7. He's a 3-pointer that push you back like 10.
Right.
Or if you are barely holding on to the lead and you down 4, he's the 3-pointer that cuts you to 1. But he's not a guy you come in like, we got to shut down Kyle Korver.
Right.
When people say that, I don't respond to KCP shutting down Kyle Korver because he averages 12 points a game.
Exactly.
He shut down 12 points a game.
Exactly.
But then the next day, he was matched up against Rodney Hood. He switched a little bit on, I can't remember his first name, but not Trey Burke, but the other Burke. And then he matched up also a little bit against Gordon Hayward, and I don't think he did a good job against them defensively. I mean, he played well, but I don't think he did a good job. They was really taking them off the dribble and getting every shot they want, and they missed threes. I think I looked at one stat, and this isn't to take a shot at KCP. I looked at one stat, and I think Rodney Hood was like 0 for 7 for 3. And when I watched the game, he had some good looks. He was just missing. I think sometimes that last play, even that last play, that was very, very great defense. But in my heart, I was like, oh my God, why did he jump? I thought they were gonna call a foul. I was like, oh my God, why did he jump? But then, you know, with a block and everything was good. But I was just waiting for a foul. You know, they do Detroit dirty anyway. But beyond that, I'm very proud of KCP, and this shows what tough love does. And I'm going on record. I believe that KCP is really Trey Waters. I really think they're the same people, and I'm going on record. And that's a fake icon pick.
Just calling out people. He's just calling out people. I'm calling out this guy. I'm calling out Barack Obama. I'm calling out everybody.
I think they're the same people. He just changed it. He had a hot game. KCP had a hot 2 games, and then what happened? Trey comes back and he changes his icon pick. He's had that same icon pick since he's been in the group. I think that's KCP. I don't care. That's KCP.
That would probably make me Brandon Jennings then, wouldn't it? Probably.
But how do you guys went to the game, correct? You guys were at the game?
I did not.
I did. I went to the game. It's hard for me to really give a good see, like, with going to the game, this is, like, I love going to the games, but the hard part about going to games, it's hard to really be analytical about what's going on because the atmosphere is just so, like, I can see myself being analytical if it was, like, 2013 and there was no one at the Palace. But, like, with last night's crowd, it was just so pumped. And when you have, and then not only that, I'm with people as well. I was with a group of people. And, like, when you're in an atmosphere like that, you know, you don't really want to be, like, really analytical about it. I mean, I did notice a few things, and I did put some stuff in the group. But to be analytical in that kind of situation, it's kind of hard. So, but, yeah, I did go to the game. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I guess I wanted to ask you guys, I mean, because I know you went, I know Dickie was supposed to go. How was the energy in the building? Like, that, was it like this optimism, like, you could see the Palace being full again and with life again? Was it that type of energy, or is it still people kind of skeptical, like, you know, it's going to go, you know, like, I don't know, you know, like,
no, I wouldn't say that at all. I mean, I wouldn't say that it was a packed house, because there were some sections that were empty, I guess you can say. But, and then, so I wouldn't say it was a packed house. I wouldn't say it was a playoff crowd, but it definitely reminded me of the good going to work days, like up against a team that was kind of like average. You know what I mean? Like, because I've been in the Palace during a playoff game, and I've been at the Palace when we played like the bottom feeder, I don't know, Charlotte Bobcats. You know, and even in those games, the Palace was still half packed because people still want to see Chauncey play. They still want to see Ben play or whatever. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't say it was as bad as the Charlotte Bobcats, but I would say it was about on par as, like, I don't know, like like or Orlando Magic or something. You know, like a game that not everybody's looking forward to see, but everybody kind of wants to see, like, a young Dwight Howard go against the Detroit Pistons of old. That makes sense? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like how I felt.
I got you.
But the crowd was definitely there. The crowd was there. Crowd was pumped. They were behind the Pistons big time. I remember definitely the moments that stand out the most was the last 2 minutes of the game. Literally everybody was on their feet. I mean, literally everybody was on their feet the last 2 minutes of the game. Like, that was awesome. That was awesome. Like, and we were like, the whole crowd was getting behind them. Even when Reggie Jackson and KCP, they're all holding onto the ball, taking bad shots off the baseline, and Andre Drummond's fumbling the ball around in the paint, and we're giving away the lead, and we did give away the lead. The crowd was definitely behind them, and we definitely rooted them on. It was a really cool moment, that last minute or two of the game. And, man, when KCP blocked that shot, oh, my God, the place erupted, man. The place erupted. That was awesome. Like I said, I came back from the game with just, like, this ultimate high, dude. Like I was so fucking pumped, and
We're gonna hear about that block all year long.
we're gonna hear about that block for a while. We're gonna hear about that block. You're gonna hear about that block for a while.
I'm gonna hear about that every time I say KC had questionable defense. What about when he blocked? Game. Probably go look at his record. You know, he'll have like one block for the season, and it'll be that one block, and he'll keep bringing it up back up.
You couldn't hear that whistle. You couldn't hear that whistle when they got the ball. There was somebody behind me that thought KCP fouled him, and he thought the whistle was on him. And I'm like, no, man, they counted it as a block. You had to really see it to see that they let it go, and they actually got the foul on whoever shot the free throws at the end there. But it was crazy, man.
I was waiting for that foul. But you know what I noticed in the first two games? That's how different those games went. Like, it made me happy because it showed me that we can play two different ways in the first game. All the threes were dropping, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, and I should, but I know we hit like double figure threes. I think we had like, maybe it was like at least 12 threes or something like that. I know we hit a lot of threes in that first game, and I'm mad at myself. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know we hit a lot of threes in that first game. And then we came back the next game, and we didn't hit as many threes. And also in the first game, I know we had a lot of fast break points. And then we came back this game, and it was more of a grinded out type game. Even though we blew the lead, it was like that grinded out. Like, it wasn't a whole lot of transition points. I think even during the game, they said the first transition basket of the night was, I think, in the fourth quarter when Stanley Johnson, he took it coast to coast, and he hit the little layup. And, yeah, he hit the layup. By the way, they need it in transition. I think they need to give the ball to Stanley Johnson and just let him do his thing in transition. I hate when they give the ball back up to Reggie Jackson and then he tries to set the offense, and I feel like he just dribbles the air out of the ball too much sometimes. Anyway, but they were two different styles of play, and it just goes back to that we have one of the top 5 coaches in the league, and I think sometimes we really forget that. In the way that he has orchestrated 2 games against 2 very worthy opponents, you can say, because you don't know how good teams are going to be, 20, 30 games from now. So 2 good worthy opponents, and just the execution in the offense, even when things wasn't working, I was very happy to see that, because sometimes, like when the 3 balls is not dropping, you can lose everything. It makes you feel like, oh boy, we don't know how we're going to win this. But they just stuck to, even that last play with Reggie Jackson, we blew the lead. We did blow the lead in the last minute and a half. We actually lost the lead of the game. And then it does kind of hit that feeling like, oh boy, here we go again.
Right.
And I was so happy we won that game, because I feel like if we had lost that game, even though we'd be 1-1, it's only in your mind you start to say, how many games did we lose like that last year? How many games did we blow the lead with such and such and such time left? So I'm really, really happy.
Last year, the year before.
Yeah. It brings back every memory of every lead that we've ever blown, because, we couldn't execute down the stretch. But once again, it shows you, and I'm not the biggest Reggie Jackson fan, but it shows you how important it is to have a guy who can get his own bucket, like who can get his own points, like you can just ISO, like clear out. And I believe that Reggie Jackson can beat your man most times. And he really muscled that one up in. Like,
I want to say it was like 2 years ago. Like, we led the league in third quarter collapses. I want to say it was like 2 years ago.
I remember.
And I completely agree. And that's kind of the feeling that I got when I was at the game. But it's like what neutralized it was I'm proud of the fans that showed up, because they didn't give up on them. I didn't give up on them. We were down 2. We were down 1, and then Reggie got that layup. And man, that it just you could just feel that they were not going to lose this game. Even though they had the ball, they got the ball back with 16 seconds left. This crowd, I felt like the crowd was just not going to let them lose that game, bro. Everybody was standing up. The crowd erupted when Reggie got the shot and got the layup and put us up by 1. And crowd erupted there. It just didn't feel like we're going to give this game up. That's the kind of that was kind of feeling that I got from that. So like, yeah, it definitely gave. Huh? What was that?
It's a good feeling.
No, it's an amazing feeling, man. It's an absolutely amazing feeling. But yeah, we gave up some pretty bad games, and a lot of that has to do with a team that just cannot control a game. You know what I mean? Just guys the guys that just cannot close games out. And what I've been doing lately is I've been listening to a lot of the TNT Open Court. Like I've been doing a lot of binge watching on that over the last several days. And and I'm gonna get way off tangent here, but
Go ahead.
one of the things that they said in there, and it was like Reggie Miller, I think it was. He said, like, the topic of discussion was like, how do good teams prepare for bad teams? And Reggie, they were all saying like, well, a lot of times it's like the hardest game of the season because a lot of these teams are like on 7-game losing streaks, and then if you're a good team, you don't want to be that team that broke their streak, so you want to beat them. And then a lot of times they're playing a lot harder than you're expecting them to, blah, blah, blah. And then Reggie said something that really reminded me of how the Pistons have been playing, Reggie Miller, that is, how the Pistons have been playing over the last 3 to 4 years. And he said, a lot of times you play against these teams and you also like think it's a night off too. So you're not playing that hard against a bad team. And like what you'll do is you'll play with them, let them think they're in the game, and then when it comes to fourth quarter, 3 minutes left, that's when you start cranking up the pressure. You know what I mean? You know you're better than them.
Right.
You just got to beat them. You know. And he said that's a lot of times that's how he prepared for bad teams. I guess not how he prepared for bad teams, but how he treated bad teams back in his playing days. Is that you just take them for granted, and you just kind of play a toy with them. You let the guys that don't get a lot of playing time get in, and and then when it's time to crack down, you crack down and you take the lead back, and that's what it really felt like being a Pistons fan like 3 years ago, or the last 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll go ahead, Dickie. Were you ready to say something?
Well, I was just that's how anytime like Harden, like all of a sudden he can't make any baskets like for the first 2, maybe 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden he's on fire. And I'm just like, come on. I see this all the time, especially with the national games. You just see like LeBron takes it easy, Paul Pierce takes it easy, and then all of a sudden, okay, now this is fourth quarter, let's bring it. But the Pistons were always just scuttlebutt of the deal. It's just kind of, you're so used to just crumbling in the fourth quarter, and they just lose their confidence. They actually like fold up like a wet napkin. So let's just kind of see them have some resolve. I think that's the word I'm looking for. And just say like we're gonna grind this out until like this last 17 seconds. We're not going to give up. We're not just going to say, oh well. And we didn't have Josh Smith to give the ball to. That's great.
I wanted to kind of talk about what you guys talk about. I did throw some little stats out too. I just not looked it up. In the first 2 games, and it's kind of it sticks out a little bit. In the first 2 games, we averaged under 40% shooting. Like the first game we shot as a team, we shot 38%. It didn't feel that way. Overall, we shot 38%. In the second game, we shot like 40%. And for free throws, although, Drummond did good and everything like that, we only around like 74% for free throws. And so it comes to like our offense, even though we scored like 106 points the first game, we made 12 threes, but we really didn't shoot well from the field. But then you come back and you can say like how good our defense has been. So I think also when you become like other teams, I don't care how good we improve our roster, and I don't care. Other teams are still looking at us like we're easy win. Like on their books, how we look at that chart and we say, oh, we can get the Milwaukee Bucks, but we'll lose this team. I think every team look at the Pistons and say win. Like we're on the road, win in Detroit.
Right.
All the other fans are saying we need Detroit. But I think that's how we can sneak up on a lot of teams. So they're not going to expect us to be a really good defensive team. And what I'm seeing, I'm just looking at the stats-wise, and one of the games, we're really defending that three ball really well. Right? Other teams, like our rotation, and this is where I'm going to come back at you, Mike, a little bit about Greg Monroe. This is the difference. When Greg Monroe, his rotations were horrible against stretch forwards and even small forwards. And I just see the difference in the way our team, even, and it's not all Greg, but it is a lot of Greg, but even when we bring in Stanley Johnson, how much better our defense gets. It's like you can see the intensity level of our defense just improve. And I don't think you could have done that before. And I think this has made Drummond's job a little bit easier, where now he's not running out people on the floor. Like I remember last year, he had, like on defensive rotations, he was jumping off beyond the free throw line trying to defend. And I think now that's not a concern of his. He just has to kind of make sure he doesn't get the little violation, but he only has to control that paint. And I think it's made things very, very easy for him.
I want to put it.
I think it results in the whole defense.
This is about as much as I'm going to say about Greg Monroe. It's no secret that I'm a big fan of Greg Monroe, but I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that he's the best defender on the court. I'm not gonna tell you that. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that he deserves a max contract. I'm not gonna tell you that. I am going to tell you that he doesn't get as much respect as he should get. That's what I am going to tell you. But I'm also going to say this one thing, that we didn't have a Stanley Johnson last year. A Stanley Johnson is the kind of player that we get now. Like, we didn't draft a Stanley Johnson last year. We drafted a Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie's not going to do the same thing that Stanley Johnson does. The second thing is, The second thing is that I specifically remember Stan Van Gundy yanking Ersan Ilyasova out of the game in favor of Stanley Johnson, and he played power forward that last possession of the game. Why? Because Ersan's not that good of a defender. So this whole defensive liability stuff, man, I understand Ersan is definitely gets the charges. I get that. But staying on a man, being in the post, getting out on the perimeter, Ersan doesn't do that really well. Neither did Greg. But saying that using Greg Monroe as a scapegoat for, he's got bad defense, so he's got to beat it. The guys you replaced him with are not much better, in my opinion. Now, Ersan does get charges. I was really happy to see that. Like, he got 4 of them in the last game. That's something you don't see a lot of. But at the same time, he doesn't really stick to a man that well. And he gets bodied in the paint really bad. And I don't remember Greg Monroe getting bodied in the paint. Greg Monroe holds his own when he's getting back down in the paint. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion. That's all I got to say about it. I'm not going to go any further with it. So, but that's my thing, is that we got guys in here that are doing the job. They're playing the role. They're playing for fit. And I don't mind it. We're winning games. I'm happy about it. My only point is that we could be winning games with Greg Monroe and Brandon Jennings. Now, that scenario is not possible because we got injuries going on and we had to revamp the roster. But to diss Greg Monroe because he didn't quite fit the mold, I don't think it's right. He was a quality player when he was here.
I don't think he should diss Greg Monroe. But I'm looking at the history, and this is what I'm basing off history. Greg Monroe, because of his style of play, even with this team, if there was no Drummond, I still don't think that we would win games with this team, because defensively, Greg Monroe is still not the same defense. He missed a lot of shots. He's not the same offensive player that Drummond is. Offensive rebound that Drummond is. And, I guess this transition a little bit to what we want to say. We want to talk about Drummond and his activity.
I think what makes Drummond, I think you guys would not be, you know what I think? I think if Drummond didn't follow up his own bad shots, and I feel like he's probably I don't even see too many rebounders like Drummond. That's one thing that I'll give Drummond a lot of credit for. He's a great, excellent rebounding player. And my thing is though is that if he did not follow up his own shots, I think people's tolerance for Andre Drummond would be a lot less than what it is right now.
Oh no, I agree, but I think it's also, you remember Jason Williams for the New Jersey Nets, and this was like a while ago.
Yeah, Jason Williams.
He led before, I think, the gun charge or something. His chauffeur had a gun, or he had a gun, or something like that. But he was the most dominant offensive rebounder in our league at that time. It's like him and Rodman. But Jason Williams was like 6'10", you know what I mean? He had a bigger body. And that's what he did. He actually made all-star games. I think he made one all-star game just off of his rebound and everything like that. One of the things they say he did as a technique was to get his hands on the ball first to put it back on the rim because he already knew he was going to out-jump. So the first shot is not even necessarily to make it. Is to make sure he gets the hand on the ball because he knows he's going to out-jump the opponent for that second time. And I'm just looking at the way some people jump. And I was looking, for example, Bain, he only jumps once. So now ball goes up. He don't get it on that first rebound. He's not even leaking the second time. Drummond, his toes, like he's already tipping the ball like 2 and 3 times before other people even think to jump. It's like we jump on Drummond so much about his instinct is not there defensively. But what he does offensively, like the way he's already tapping it or he's already looking to do it, I wish they did some type of sports science piece on the way Drummond rebounds because it's very unique for a big man his size to do it. Like I didn't even see Dwight Howard didn't even do it. He didn't. Dwight Howard's very athletic and he would, go big the first time. But I think that if Drummond did not have a second mount and he was missing little taps and tips, of course it would look horrible. It would look horrible to do that. But he is giving it, and I think it's part of his technique. It's a mental thing that I will out-jump this opponent a second time. And my knock isn't about Greg Monroe, what he can and what he can't do. I said it for a while, like I was watching him, what I needed to see Greg Monroe do is increase his range as I've never seen Greg Monroe as a center. I always see him as a power forward. In college, I thought Greg Monroe was going to come out as a power forward more so than a center. And I would say when he came out of college, people were talking about, oh, he's going to have this range. He's going to have the range. And I just think he never got it, developed it, or whatever facet. He may do it someday, but I don't know. But I don't think in this league, see, here's the thing is, I thought in his first 2 years, he did look like a power forward because he didn't have that much weight to him, I don't know if you guys remember, he was just really lengthy, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say like Austin Day lengthy, but he was lengthy, he didn't have a lot of weight to him. Over the years, obviously, guys put on weight, but I feel like he really put himself in the gym, and after a while, he started looking like a center. But the problem is when he started looking like a center, we drafted Andre Drummond, and that's where things just kind of got a little screwy. I mean, not saying there was a mistake to draft Andre Drummond. I'm just saying that, we potentially did what you guys wanted to do with Trey Burke and Brandon Knight. We had Brandon Knight, and you guys wanted to draft another point guard. That's pretty much what we did. Right. We already had a center, a developing center, and then we actually drafted another center, and then it got really screwy when we signed another big man, which was Josh Smith, and now we have 3 big men all playing in the front court spots that we're a league where guys are trying to get up and down the court with their athleticism and speed. So I don't know. I think I don't think, like I said in the group, I said, our son, Ilya Silva, I said that if I had one pick and I said I'm ready to start a team, or between those two, I'm going to start with Greg because he's the more talented player. But if I say I'm going to look at this team, the coach, and what we are trying to do, I'm going to pick Ilyasova every time that he gets hit. I'm even starting to see, I'm seeing, even though Drummond, his hook isn't dropping all the way, I'm seeing the confidence he has in it. And it's not ugly. It's not like he's just slinging the ball up against the backboard trying to throw it in there. It's actually a touch that's there. And I feel even more confident in him getting the ball in the post because in the first 2 games, his free throw shooting has exceeded, even though that's early, it's early on in 2 games, his free throw shooting has blown my mind. He's gone to the line 10 times the first game, he made 6. He went to the line 11 games, and then he made 8. And then, we think about last year when he was doing the same thing. We was like, he was going 2 for 10 or 3 for 11, 1 for 10, So to see this full kind of like now Drummond is now in the post. He has a little baby hook shot, and he's making free throws. I think his overall energy and the way he's rotating, I think it's taking a lot of teams, and he's not getting in foul trouble too. And I think he's taking a lot of teams defensively I think he's really shocking a lot of teams the way he's covering space. And Drummond has always been one of the fastest big men in the league in covering space. Go ahead, Dickie.
No, I was just gonna say, was it the fourth quarter, and he only got he got 2 fouls, like his second foul. So impressed. So impressed. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I just think that to see his evolution, it's kind of scary. Now we can start to say how good can Drummond be. Before we were just he's big and he's athletic. We was going like he's the Dwight Howard, or he's then we kind of backed off at the Dwight Howard, or maybe he's just DeAndre Jordan. But now to kind of see that he potentially already at 22 is showing a little bit higher skill set. Now, defensively, he's not going to probably be either player. But as far as his skill set, his ability, he probably is ahead of both of those guys right now. Skill set offensively, he's probably ahead of both of them right now.
I think I can agree with that. I think here's my thing is that I kind of try to look at things with the realistic expectations. So when you guys say he's going to have all these post moves over the summer, I'm just like, God, do you know how long it takes to just perfect just one post move or just one technique? You know what I mean?
Right.
It takes repetition, and that's just one. This one. And then not only that, you got to try it against real competition. You can't just, try it against your trainer who's 5'7". You know what I mean? You got to go up against real competition and really try out those moves. And my thing is that, this is going to lead into the other thing I wanted to talk about is that I don't think Drummond's 18-point scorer yet, and I don't think he will be this year. Does he have the potential to be? Yeah, of course he does. I think one thing that I've always said is that I've always been impressed by Drummond's soft hands around the rim. It's one thing that I've always been impressed by. He's got really soft hands around the rim, and I think that's one of the reasons why he's able to tip balls in off offensive rebounds so often, is that he just got the knack for having the ball go in right around the rim with just smooth, I don't know, I guess you can say soft hands, So my thing is that he's got potential. With that kind of knack, if you just throw a few post moves and get him in low post, I mean, he has the potential with just that to be a good scorer in the league. My thing is that comes with time, and I don't think that he's going to be able to put it all together during this season. You might see it maybe next season, maybe the season afterwards, but I don't think it's going to all come together this season. I think you're still going to see a lot of the old Andre Drummond with the oop passes and the offensive rebounding like we've seen, and you're right. He doesn't throw the ball at the basket as much as he used to, but at the same time he still doesn't seem comfortable in the post, creating his own shot yet. So I don't know. I think you're right.
I think that's your skeptical. So I think that's your skeptical. Don't want to get your hopes up high.
Right, and and the other thing is though to add on to that, he's a 13-point scorer. You know, he's averaged 13 points the last few years, and
if you round up to 14.
Yeah, okay, all right, whatever. Yeah, he's a 13-point scorer. He's a 13-point scorer. If he ends this season with 17.8 points per game, he's a 17-point scorer. He's got to hit that 18 mark with like conviction. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. This is just the way I view it. But my thing is that hold on. Let me finish what I was gonna say. And it'll be real quick. But in my opinion, he's a 16-point scorer. With the improvement that I've seen, I think he's got enough improvement there to up his point per game by 2 points. And I think that's a big improvement. In my opinion, that's a big improvement. You know, not a lot of guys can go from 13 points all the way to 18 points. So, like, that's a big jump. And I don't know if he's improved that much. But from what I've seen, I think he's an 18-point scorer. And right now, or 16-point scorer. And right now, he's on pace for that. Because he's not going to average 18 points every single game. That's not realistic. He's not going to hit 18 points every single game. He's going to have games where he's going to hit 15 points. He's going to hit 17 points. And right now, I think you're seeing him at his high, which is 18 points. And when it all averages out, it's going to be around 16 to 17.
And that's the difference what I'm looking at. I guess this is the KCP fan me who believes in potential that's coming out. I look at it like first game, he had 16 shot attempts. And he only made 6. He made 6 free throws. And he had 18 points. So that's going to be the most shot attempts he's going to make. Second game, he only had 11 attempts. But he went through free throws 7 times. Now, he's going to be shooting 8 free throws a game. You know, I mean, if he's going to shoot 11 free throws a game all the time, we don't know. If he's going to make 8, probably not. But if you cut that in half and say 4, and then he gives more attempts, I think as his attempts grow, his points are going to be there. And we're still not even seeing a pick and roll heavy. I mean, the first 2 games, we're not seeing pick and roll heavy because a lot of teams are really, like that said is going to do, they're going to sag off and they're going to say, Reggie Jackson, you got to make a shot. Now, so far, Reggie Jackson, making a shot. But that's what teams are doing. They're like, we're not going to let you just run this pick and roll, throw the hoop to Drummond. Reggie Jackson, you're going to have to make the shot or you're going to have to kick it out to somebody and have to make a bucket. But if you notice in that last game, he did miss, but they went to Drummond in like the last 2 minutes in the post. When is the last time you ever seen him go to Drummond in the post? That means that Stan Van Gundy is saying, I believe in this big man, and we're going to give you a chance for us to believe in you. So if he's doing this in a close game, a team is getting back within like 4 points, and we're going to go to Drummond in the post, that shows a lot of confidence in him. So that just tells me that over time, Drummond's going to get more and more attempts. And he did this against pretty good defenders. Like he did against Horford, who's a good defender, good physical big man. And then he came back and did against Gobert, who led the league in shot blocks last year. And he's like one of the best shot blockers already in the league. And he's done well. So I said, what about the nights when he's matched up against somebody a team that doesn't have any rotates that can do it? He's going to go big for points. He's going to go for like 25 and 24 points. I mean, it would have surprised me, like, I can just see him, like, when he goes against Indiana, I could see him having a huge game against Indiana because who can guard him in Indiana? Like, I can see him going huge. When I look at the whole East, who are the big men in the East that can really go with a Drummond that's aggressively looking to score? There aren't many. They're all the big men out west. You know, so I can really see him averaging 18 points a game or more just based off the volume of touches he's starting to get. He will get more comfortable getting deeper into the post, and they're actually looking for him. Now, once again, it's going to come to those free throws. If he can shoot 55%, I mean, right now I think he's about, 70-something? That's probably not realistic for the year. He's great if it happens. But if he goes to about 55% and he's making over half of his free throws, that's huge. That's an extra 5 points a game that he wasn't even getting last year. So I'm looking at really that free throw attempt. It's a real difference maker for me versus everything else. Like, and I can see that jump hook falling. I mean, because it's not. I've seen his jump hook develop. he used to just like back down and just like fling it at the basket, like falling away. Like he would do it like he's flinging it, like just falling it over his shoulder. And he used to do that. Remember, he used to do that ugly turnaround jumper, like.
Yeah, I think I don't want to. I don't want. You know what? And you're gonna hate me for this, but I don't want to see him do the hook shot. I don't feel like he's consistent enough, and I don't feel like he's confident enough to really hit that hook shot. I know which one you're talking about, and I just, like I said, I think his strength, and this is where I feel like there's a little faultiness in his post game right now. We agree that he's getting more touches and he's looking a little bit more comfortable, but here's the faultiness, is that his hands are really soft around the rim. I don't know why he's not using post moves to body people further inside. And you're gonna hate me for this, but a guy that did that a lot was Greg Monroe. Greg Monroe would do that, like, what is it, that little half spin and then finger roll it into the basket. And that's something that I would like to see Drummond pick up and do, because I feel like that's a higher probability shot, especially with his soft hands around the rim, than that little hook shot he does that is 10 feet away from the basket, and he's not really sure if it's going to go in or not. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I've just seen the development of it, and this not even being like a Drummond fanboy. I've just seen the development of that shot, and I've seen.
Do you know what post move I'm talking about?
Are you talking about the one where he turns into it, or are you talking about when he kind of comes over his shoulder? The little baby one, or the one he turns and he kind of flips like Shaq used to do when Shaq first getting his little post move?
I'm gonna send you a clip of it, but Monroe used to do it all the time, and Monroe's got a plethora of post moves, but this is the one that he used to do a lot.
That's the thing, like, and I would say this, and it goes back to what I said to you before when I showed you the link on the page. Monroe has always played like a big. I was looking at a video of Jahlil Okafor. Jahlil Okafor has always played like a big. And he's always, played with the back of the basket. He always has. So to me, they're so different in where they're at in their development. Drummond is not down there because sometimes, what he used to do was that spin move. He used to do that little spin move on the baseline, but it was so inconsistent. And then you started getting charges, or he was stepping out of bounds. And I think Stan has told him, keep it simple. I think Stan's like, let's just focus on this. Let's focus on the jumper from the left side. Let's focus on the jump hook in the middle, and let's focus on the jump hook on the right side. And I've seen it, and like I said, his only problem is not getting deep enough position. And I think that just comes with time and experience, and knowing that you're not practicing against the same people every day, and different people are going to meet you at different levels of physicality. But I'm very proud of it so far, and I think that he looks to me, he's the most shocking. Those free throws and his defense. The two things we criticized Drummond the most about was his free throws and his defense. And when I say this early, we're talking baby in the season, but those have been the most impressive things. To me, KCP has not been like, oh my God, is because he's done this before. Like, we've seen KCP get hot and score like 19, 20, 25 points, in consecutive games. We've seen when he, have a stretch of games where he's shooting like 60% for threes. He disappeared. So, you've seen it.
I'm gonna say that if you had to ask me what was like the most impressive, I would go ahead and say KCP. I get where you're coming from, but what impresses me about KCP is that he's stepping up. You know what I mean? He's stepping up, and he's not. He looks like he wants to make a difference. You know what I mean? He's not out there wandering around. He doesn't look lost, but he's stepping up and making huge plays. I cannot say that there's a lot of guys on the team that would have made the couple huge plays that he made in that game. I can think of a few guys that would have jumped out there and got that block. Stanley Johnson may have been one of them, and I think that'd probably be it. And it really impressed me because that was a big time play in a big time moment in a big time game where we needed to stop, and he got the stop. And then not only that, but he hit a big three maybe a couple possessions before that. And you know what I mean? He was open. He was open, but it was a big three. You know what I mean? We needed that three.
And I don't want to take nothing away from, first, I don't want to take nothing from KCP, so when people listen to this, I'm like, oh, here you go again. I'm not taking nothing away from what he did in that game. He was lights out in the first game. But then it's like sometimes we get so caught up on a player because we have so low expectations for them, low expectations when they do anything. It makes it seem like, oh, my God. You know, but Drummond is the one who really carried us. Like, even his points, you know, when he's in the game, like the defense Drummond makes. Like when Drummond was in the floor, he left, they made their run. Drummond comes back in the game, everything gets stabilized again. You know, I just think that Drummond's overall impact. If Drummond can make 8 free throws, we lose that game. You know what I mean? Drummond was really like the catalyst. Because at one point, you could tell they were trying to do. They were trying to foul Drummond on intentionally. They were fouling him intentionally, but he was making a free throw, so they stopped doing it. Because he was making a free throw. So they stopped fouling him and putting him to the line. Because he was making them. And if he was missing those, you don't know how that game turns out. Then maybe KCP comes to hit 4 threes in a row. But they was trying to get Drummond out their game by fouling them. They was getting extra physical, trying to make sure that Drummond gets fouled. They wasn't letting him go anything clean. But he came back to the line. He was knocking free throws down. So I think to me, that was more impressive. And that it was a great defense by KCP. It was great. It really was. It was a really great defense. And he did hit a clutch basket. But so did Reggie Jackson. When Reggie Jackson hit that little step back three, that was huge. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think a lot of guys, you know, I think there was a 3 by Elliot Silva. I think he hit a big 3. So there was a lot of people hit shots. I just think we're so, because the bar has been so low for KCP for all the years. We were like, oh, as long as he just plays good defense, oh, as long as he just does this. But now he's doing a little bit more. Like he was taking, like he did it more in the first game than this game. But he was taking people off the dribble. He was attacking the rim. He got that little floater dropping. I was like, okay, KCP, that's what Mike was talking about. Like he got his little repertoire going on. You know, that's really good. You know, it was really good to look at, and I'm really excited for him.
And by the way, it's kind of unfair to make. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. You guys still here?
I'm here.
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought I hung up. It's kind of unfair to make real critical judgments on guys because the last 2 games I've been in the company of other people, so it's kind of been hard to be really analytical about games. But with that being said, where was I going with this? With that being said, KCP, you know what? There was moments in the game where I felt like he was actually being a real difference maker, and that's just me. I know you're going to disagree with me, but I felt like he was really playing well. And again, I haven't been able to just really sit down and watch the game and really break it down. But like from the things I've seen, I thought he was making a huge difference, and that's one of the things that we were expecting. We need from him. We need a reliable shooting guard that's not going to be up and down, man. We need a guy that's going to make plays out there, and it felt like he was making plays.
Great. No, he has, and don't get me wrong. He has. He was in the first game. He was lights out, but I felt like anybody, and this I don't care, you know, and people simply want to say he was lights out in the first game, but at one point he was making them, but we was up by like 15 points. It was like we started really wasn't even a threat to come back. You know, we were really running away with the game. At one point we were starting to run away with the game. Then they started to come back a little bit at the end. Like they cut the lead to like 6 with like 30 seconds or something like that.
Yeah,
it's not already in the game. You know, but he was like, let's try to run away. The momentum was there. He hit that little pull-up 3. You know, it was crazy. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that. But when I look at the stats, when I see a Drummond doing 18, 19, and 2 blocks, and we hold a team that was one of the best offensive teams last year to under 100, then come back again, and he just has another 18-point game. He got 11 rebounds. You know, he's making – I just say, if I had to measure off the 2, if I say most shocking, I would say KCP his improvement has been the most shocking, but I can't say that he's outperformed Drummond. His responsibility.
No. I wouldn't say he's outperformed Drummond, not at the very least. But I think that's the point I'm trying to make. I think that's what a lot of people are trying to make. Elda, is that I think his performance is actually the most. When I say impressive, I put that in the same category as shocking. Because I mean, it's you can't be impressed without being shocked. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel. Like, in my opinion, I don't think he was the big difference. I mean, he was in a lot of areas, but like he's definitely not carrying the load. You know what I mean? Obviously, that is Drummond and that is Reggie. That this is their team. But when we expect guys to pick up on their end of the bargain, I think KCP has done a little bit more than what we were expecting him to do, and that's kind of like the point that I think me and a few other people were trying to make, is that I think what's going on with KCP is that it's definitely impressive in my opinion, and it's definitely shocking in my opinion, because after seeing him in these preseason games, I'm just like, I don't know, KCP. These guys are second stringers, man. You gotta step it up, man. You're out here with the bench. You're out here with Steve Blake. You're out here with, you know what I mean? Guys are getting limited playing time, and he's the one that's getting the most out of all the starters. You know, you expect him to lead. And
but that's what I'm saying though. I think it's and be clear for the listeners in the future. I'm not trashing him, but I think his expectations are so low. Like even people who are KCP fans, I just think the expectations are so low that when he does the thing he's doing now, I just think that people are like, what? Like, what? He made an open three? What?
I will say that. I will agree with you that I definitely believe his expectations were super low. I think people give him a lot of rope, in my opinion. People give him a lot of rope, and and in my opinion, wasn't deserving. You know, everybody can make excuses about how he's a rookie, how he's young, he's 22, blah blah blah. But at the same time, we're playing at the NBA level. And when it all comes down to it, we need to win games and we need to see production. Mm-hmm. And if you're not having it,
everybody becomes more consistent instead of these incredibly polarized nights where you're doing completely well, and then we don't hear from you at all. I mean, Drummond, KCP, Reggie. I mean, if when you walk out on the floor, you pretty much know what you're going to get. At least that kind of level. I don't know if, like, across the league, I feel like other teams have that kind of dependency. Like, I know what he's going to give me. I know what kind of performance we're going to get. But, like, Drummond can be ice cold sometimes. And people always say that about Brandon. I'm sure he can be. But I can always tell when Drummond is not going to play today. He's like a mule. Like, he just not. And, like, he'll get 3 quick fouls in the first quarter, and he's done. We have to sit him. I'm just like, he doesn't feel like doing it tonight. And I'm like, he did it a few times last season, and I know because I wasn't the only one that felt that way, because Stan Van Gundy looked like he was going to have a heart attack, like, talking after the game. So he wasn't playing defense. I know that. Everybody knew he just wasn't playing. So I don't know if that's something, I don't know what that is. But I'm still not all the way there with Drummond, because I'm like, I feel like if he just doesn't feel like it, he's just not going to do it. And I feel like okay.
Yeah, I think with Drummond, and this is my only time, and I think you guys remember too, like, I think losing takes its toll on everybody. And I think I was listening to somebody, I wasn't watching him, I was actually listening to it, and somebody said something like he looks like he's frustrated, like he's running the court hard, and he's not getting the ball, or somebody posted in the group like he's running hard. I think losing. I heard
the word pouting.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Like I said, maybe that's what somebody posted. I was reading it. But to me, if you're running hard and you're a big man, you're running hard, you're doing everything you're supposed to do, and then they're not getting you the ball, or they're not shooting the jumper, then you feel like you got to fight for the rebound. Then they come back and do it again. I think mentally sometimes it can take a toll. And then you get to a season when you start to, I don't care who you are, like your energy just wears out. Like I remember Kenneth Fareed, you know, he was talking about how he just not playing with the same energy. Yeah, it's different. You know, when your team is losing all the time. It's like you play with high energy when your team is games up and you're ready to go to the playoffs and everybody's talking about, you know, how good your team is and you can play hard all the time. But when you become like a cellar dweller and, you know, your team is losing and you start to look around, I don't care who you are, you start to look around and say, I need help and these guys are not it right now. I think you can wear and tear on anybody. I mean, Jordan got like that. Like, you can see games like Jordan was like, he getting his shots because he's Jordan, but he's sulking. And he's in people's face like, give me the ball. So I just think that it's a natural thing for all NBA stars. And he's a star in Detroit. He may not be a superstar across the NBA yet, but he's a star in Detroit. And I think it starts to wear on you. It did it to Greg Monroe. I mean, Greg Monroe had these little lackadaisical games also. I think, you know, it happens like that. So I think that if we're winning or we're competing, I think that you won't see it. But I think if we ever sink again, I think then it become an issue again.
It's like an anvil. It's like you're sinking and you put like an anchor over it. Like it's like, and you know you're going to go down because it's what I don't know. I mean, I don't play basketball, so I don't know how much energy it needs. It looks like you need a lot, but I'm like, well, we're definitely going to lose now if you know you got 3 fouls in the first quarter. I'm like, it's not going to work. We're done. Yeah. It's kind of like this. It's like I don't know. You watch the Lions, Elda?
Say it one time.
Do you watch the Lions?
No, you don't. No. Only when they play the Buffalo Bills.
It's a fun thing. But if you watch the game if you watched that, you didn't. But you know, Stafford, our quarterback, got 7 sacks. I was like, we're done. It's not. It's too disheartening. It's too much. I'm just like, this win is never going to happen because like. You just keep getting hit, and nobody's protecting this guy. I feel like I wasted time with Andre. It's just like he's just like, and I'm done. And I'm like, how can you be done yet? I mean, like we're only in the first quarter. It's just like you don't give a damn. And like if he doesn't give a damn. I mean, like seriously, you get some money to play a professional sport. So I at least expect 50%. Even if they're not throwing it to you, they're not in your face, or you didn't get enough Gatorade. I don't care. Give me at least 50 to 60%. But when you say like in the first quarter, yeah, I'm just want to sit this one out. I'm like, oh, seriously, don't do that. Don't do that. That kills my spirit, and I don't feel like I don't care whether you go or not. I really don't. But hopefully this year, maybe, especially with Stanley, being a defensive help, maybe he won't do that too much.
I think, and I'm not saying I don't know how many. Watch. I think that was like a handful of games. And to me, that felt like late in the season. So I do remember some of those games. I'm not going to be like, it didn't happen. But I think it was like kind of late in the season. And then you looking around. I mean, it was definitely like after Jennings was traded and Jennings was hurt. And, you know, Williams was gone. And I think the whole team was just like in limbo. You know, you go from this high. You was like on this high. Like, you know, everybody talks about it. Everybody from this high. And we felt like we were ready to take on the world. We thought we were going to the playoffs. Then it all just come crashing down around you. Then you go on a 10-game loser streak. Sometimes I just think it just takes all of the air from out of you. Like everything that was good just sucks it out of you. So I mean, but hopefully this year, like you said, because of the people like the resurgence of KCP and you know him and have a relationship with Brandon Jackson. Yeah, I said Brandon Jackson, Reggie Jackson. Brandon Jennings will be coming back. He has a good relationship with Stanley Johnson. He's talking about being like the leader. You know, he said, I want to be the leader. So I can see Stan being in his ear like, you can't say you're going to be the leader and take days off. You just can't, you know.
That'd be a good nickname. That'd be a good nickname for Brandon and Reggie. If they can coexist as point guard duos.
They can do the fusion dance and become one.
They can become one player. They can be Brandon Jackson.
Point guard.
They could be Reggie Jennings.
Yeah. No, I'm very happy with the team so far. I really am. There's nothing that hasn't. Only thing I would say concern, and I think it's going to come. And I love that we're playing them early. With Stanley Johnson, I know that I love his confidence to score, and I love it. But I love that his offense, whether it's shot falling or not, it doesn't dictate what he's doing on defense. To me, defensively, Morris has been excellent. It's not even about replacing Morris or anything like that. Morris has been excellent. And Ilyasova has been excellent. Like, we look what Ilyasova's doing right now with his shooting. He's really doing what he's supposed to do. Like, we look past what if he stays healthy, there's a difference. When you have a guy averaging 15, 14 points a game, shooting around 50% for threes, that's what we wanted out of that position. And he's giving us like 6, 7 rebounds out of that position too. So that's rock solid. But I think that when he brings defensively, it's very good. It's a very high energy, fast paced, not back down from anybody. And like, you can feel like he can switch and he can make a difference. Like, what's his name bodied him a few times, and Gordon Hayward. But I think he really gave Gordon Hayward like a really good challenge. Gordon Hayward is a very, very good offensive player.
Yep.
And I think he did a great job.
I did too.
Against Gordon Hayward and his switches and defending them. And then I noticed even on that last play, when Gordon Hayward gave them the lead, I think that, KCP was on them, and KCP tried to go around the screen. I think he tried to go around the screen, and then Gordon Hayward was able to turn the corner. But when you watch the way Stanley Johnson, he kind of goes through those screens. Like, he's very physical. Like, he's
a big body guy.
Physical. He's not afraid to really throw his body in there. And I think he's going to give a lot of guys fits, as he gets experience. Like, as he gets experience and he learns how to defend at a level, I think a good matchup for him is going to be these next 2 games. Like, he's going to catch matchups against Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
And Paul George. And I think in those matchups, we're going to really see what type of guy, because you can't say you don't know what Paul George can do, because he matched up against Paul George in over the preseason twice, and twice Paul George. Was it twice?
Yeah, but I don't think he was. I don't think he was guarding Paul George during most of the time. Was he?
Yeah, they was all switching, but Paul George got him a lot of times. He was on Paul George a lot. And Paul George is just, first of all, Paul George is healthy and playing that power forward, small forward, shooting guard, point guard, hybrid, LeBron James invented position that he's doing right now. He's deadly because the matchups, like I said, so really, in my opinion, Stanley Johnson and KCP are going to be really his assignments. You can't put I said it before, you can't put no Anthony Tulliver on him because he's going to make Anthony Tulliver look stupid. You're going to put him on skates the whole game. So those are really going to be the 2 people, and you can't put Morris on them. And you can't put Ilyasova on them. So, the reason they put them at that position is to cause some mismatches all over the place. But that's the beautiful thing when you have a guy like Stanley Johnson who can guard that position the way he do. But I think it's going to be a good matchup. I really do. I think it's going to be good to see Kenny really hang, with a superstar right there. Because, Paul George healthy is one of the best players in the league hands down. So it's gonna be very interesting. I'm gonna really keep my eye out.
Well, Paul George healthy. Paul George healthy is someone that LeBron couldn't even guard.
Exactly.
But Paul George is a very dynamic player, so yeah, I definitely understand that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Stanley's like a shadow out there. He chases people down. That's amazing. I love him. Great.
Yeah, and that's what I like about him. I love that. I love that about Stanley Johnson. He has he doesn't back down. And even the guys even Paul George is lighting him up, I didn't see him hold his head down. He didn't put his hands on his head, put his head down. He didn't stop, running. Paul George still, getting him off the front face, but he wasn't getting that discouraged look on his face. And Paul
he definitely wasn't, because he still went off and put up 26 points. So
exactly,
he definitely was not feeling bad about it. That's for sure. He was feeling pretty good about himself during that game.
offensively, I think what I've seen Stan, and I'm gonna get ready to let you guys go, 'cause I got your ready to go too. But
Okay.
offensively, Stanley Johnson, I'm not worried about the jump shot because to me, sometimes it just those jitters. Like you talked about it before. Like sometimes you just have jitters, and you play your first game, and then you play your first home game. So I think it's all kind of like jitters, and I think he'll work that out over time. But I've seen that Stan is trying to get him in the post more. And I think when he gets into the post, he just needs to take his time. I would like to see him just take his time a little bit more because he is physically, not height-wise, but physically as far as weight and muscle mass, bigger than a lot of guys who don't get to the post.
His frame.
It seems like he rushes it.
His frame is like if he were to play football, he would be a tight end.
Definitely.
Guy's got a frame. He's agile and he's aggressive. You know what I mean? Like if you were to put him on the football field, he would be a tight end for sure, no doubt.
Yeah, I would just love to see him when he gets started at post situation. Just take his time a little bit more, and not rush. Because he had Gordon Hayward a few times, but I felt like he tried to rush it, and then Gordon Hayward had blocked it one, and then another one he makes it a little bit too complicated. So this is where I see the part about him when they say about him around like finishing around the basket. I think sometimes he's looking. I don't know if he's looking for contact, and he's getting it because he is getting to the free throw line. But I think sometimes you just gotta make the easy bucket and not worry about the and one. And sometimes I feel like he's trying to get that and one instead of just making the bucket. I think he's thinking too much through his shot. But that just means it's early. You know what I mean? It's early, so we'll see.
So, real quick before we all part ways here, what do you guys feel about the Bulls, and what do you guys feel about this next 6 games that are coming up?
Go ahead, Vicky.
Okay, I'm going to the game, and I'm hoping since is Derek playing? Derek is playing. Yeah.
Who?
Mm-hmm. He's playing back in 18 points.
Oh, Derrick Rose?
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Derrick Rose is back, for sure. He's playing.
Okay.
I'm going
to predict a Detroit win. It might be a small win, a small marginal point, but I'm going to predict a Detroit win.
I'm trying to be like Mike. I think Mike said he's trying not to say what games he's going to lose, or somebody said I'm not trying to say. Maybe somebody said he's not trying to say what games he's going to lose and win. But I believe I'm going to say we can beat everybody all the time. I'm not going to say we're going to lose. But I think in the next 10 games, or not the next 10, I guess 8, I'm predicting at worst 6-4, and at best 8-2. But I think we can say the Bulls really good because we match up well against the Bulls. I just think we match up well against them. The way we've been defending the 3 has been very impressive to me. So, and that's a big part for the Bulls. Like the Bulls, only thing they have that really scared me is how good Paul Gasol can be. Because Paul Gasol, if he gets Drummond in foul trouble, or he really gets Drummond in business, then that could be something. But other than that, I think we really match up well against the Bulls. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go out and be the bad guy here. I think we're gonna pick up our first loss on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna take our first loss. I really am sticking to that schedule that I posted up earlier today because I ran across it and I'm like, I think this is pretty accurate about what's gonna happen. I'm not tooting my own horn, just saying I think it's gonna be pretty accurate. But I think we probably might pick up our first loss on Friday just because Chicago's healthy, Chicago's ready to win. They've been on the cusp of trying to get a winning team together, but they've had injuries, and I think they're about as hungry as the Pistons are to really get a good season going. With everybody ready to roll. Finally, if I had to put myself in Chicago shoes, so I think we might pick up our first loss on Friday. However, if we don't pick up our first loss on Friday and we actually get the win out against Chicago, I think that's a statement.
You got to burn your list. You got to make a video of you burning your list.
You said what?
Yeah, I said if we win against Chicago, that means you have to hold your list up and make a video of you burning it.
Dude, I'll hold it up. I'll burn. Dude, if I can have all those games green, dude, I'll burn it, and you can serve up the biggest plate of crow if you want from me, man. I'd be happy to win all those games.
I'll tag you. I'm gonna tag you and everything. If we beat Chicago, I'm gonna tag you and everything.
I'd be happy. I'd be ecstatic. I'll eat that crow with a smile on my face if we could win all those games. We can win all those games. I'll eat so much crow. I'll be happy. But
8-2, 6-4. That's my high low. I can't accept. We come up. I mean, 5-5 would be okay with me.
Are they beating
500?
Elda?
8-2 or 6-4.
Elda. Don't beat around the bush with me. Are they gonna win Friday?
Oh yeah, I think we got them.
Oh, you think you got them? Okay.
I think it's a good. You know why? Because I'm telling you, we could be this year Atlanta Hawks. I think a lot of teams are just going to pass us.
You know, if we get past Chicago, I also I'll be calling a 50-point season. I'll be calling not a 50-point, but I'll be calling a 51 season. If we can get past Chicago in that first game, knowing what I just described about Chicago and knowing that they're hungry to get a good team and a good season going with a healthy roster, and we come out and we lay a spanking on Chicago, I will be calling a 51 season because that's a statement win. That's a statement win, and now we're going on the road with momentum, with a winning streak against a few West Coast teams that could be good, that are really shaky, but it's still the West Coast. And I still think we're gonna have a good season this year. Like I'm gonna say we're I think right now at the beginning of the season, like before the season started about a month ago, I said we're about a 40 or 42 win team. I think we're about a 45 win team. I think we're 45 wins. I think we got 45 wins right now. I think we can get 45 wins, and that's just because we see what Stanley Johnson can do. We've seen what Marcus Morris can do now. Like, it's not on paper anymore. We actually can see it with our own eyes, And in my opinion, that small forward spot was such an Achilles heel, no pun intended, to Brandon Jennings. But that small forward spot was Achilles heel of ours, man. Like, I felt like that was like that and the point guard spot last year. I felt like were the two biggest issues we were having, and then shooting guard and everything down the list from there. But like that small forward spot, man, that was it was a pain to watch last year, and I feel like we filled some holes over the summer, for sure, with quality players.
And I don't want to undermine the coaching stand has been doing. I think it started last year. I think he's toned down his the insults and and all of the the sharp criticism of his players. I think he really I really think he cares about this team. I think he's crafted a team. I think he really genuinely really loves these players, and I think he loves them to the sense of this is my team type love, and I think that he genuinely believes in them. And I think they believe in him, too. And I think that you can start to see it even in crunch time or even in the way he's starting to get them together. Like, I think they really believe they can win. And I think that the big thing is when you believe you can win, but nobody else can, I mean, you're the underdog, but you're not approaching games like you're the underdog. You're going into games believing you're better than other teams. Other teams come to the game just looking at you like you're an easy win. And I think you can come out real early and punch teams in the mouth like they did in Atlanta. And then I think you play a team like Utah, you already think you're better than Utah, and Utah sticks with you because you're thinking about it. When we go against these really top teams, I think we're gonna stick with them. I think we can shock a lot of teams with defense, and I think our defense has been playing top flight. So,
did you see Millsap get frustrated in that first game? They fouled him at the end of the game. He threw the ball down. I'm like, we got you. We got you mentally. We already got you. Like, the game was, I don't know if it's the third quarter or the fourth quarter, but I think it might have been the fourth quarter, but, like, he was fouled. I mean, like, this is not a playoff game. This is, like, the first game of the season. Like, I mean, like, there's nothing on the line, you know? And he was, like, already just like, what the hell? And the same thing when Atlanta, for the last preseason game, I was there for that one, and they looked tired. And I'm like, they weren't expecting that. They looked like we weren't prepared for this. And I thought that they were going to come out even harder for the first game, and they still were, like, completely, like, not ready. So I think a lot of people aren't ready.
And by the way, I love
like
that. I love that win. Like I said, I love the last two wins that we got. Like, it's just so satisfying because I really felt like we can go in Atlanta, and based off what I've seen in the preseason, and I know guys are not getting, they're not getting full looks of how we're going to be looking in the season, but getting flashes of how things could turn out. I'm like, man, I think we could, and I really felt like that. I really felt like we could go in Atlanta and really punch them in the mouth. And, like, I'm glad that they did, man, because it felt really good because I was like, I knew these guys could do it. Now, I don't know how, that was the one thing that I said is, like, we see them with energy. We see them playing at a high performance peak level. But this is not going to last all 82 games. At least I don't think it is. If it does, I think we have a good chance of going 82-0. Like, no joke. But, like, it's just not humanly possible to play at that energy for 82 games plus the playoffs.
Right.
So my thing is that seeing that them play at that level made me happy because it makes me feel like this team will be competitive on most nights. And for the most part, we won't see a lackadaisical Pistons team all season, which makes me feel like we have a potential spot to make it in the playoffs. And you know, and like I said, I'm really happy with what I've seen from them. There's no doubt about it. Like I was ecstatic. I was happy leaving the last game. I was happy with our first win against Atlanta. I'll be happier if we can beat the Bulls. I'm not saying that we will, but if they do, man, the league is on notice. The league is on notice. The Pistons are for real. If we can beat a hungry Bulls team, because and they're hungry because like they shut down LeBron. They shut down Cleveland. You know, they've been waiting for their chance to shut Cleveland up healthy. You know.
Yep.
Everybody, and you know how like we feel like we're getting disrespected. Well, I don't think the Bulls are getting much respect either. You know, like with the team that they have. Now, I'm not a Bulls fan, but I'm just saying is that they got a quality squad themselves, man. And no one's talking about them winning a championship. It's all about Cleveland, you know, and we're all in the same division. So I know they're feeling a little salty about the attention Cleveland's getting, and they're not. And they went in there and shut Cleveland down.
They were the only team that were able to win.
Oh, guys, I got to go, all right?
All right, Elda.
We're done.
All right, guys.
We're done. Take it easy, Elda.
You probably, yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just had to go. I just didn't want to hang up. All right, guys. It was good. It was fun. All right, let's see how that record. Let us know.
I will definitely let you guys know. And